If you ever want to know what it feels like to have the air sucked clean out of your lungs, let your teenage son send you a video of your wife tangled up in a motel bed with your own damn brother. Yeah, that's how it started. That exact moment, I think my heart stopped mid-beat. It was a Saturday evening. I was fixing the brakes on my '96 Bronco in the garage, cold beer half drunk beside me, when my phone buzzed like it had a personal emergency. I wiped my hands on a rag, thinking maybe it was a work thing or maybe my son, Tyler, needed something from his mom's house. I had no clue I was one tap away from my entire life flipping inside out. Dad, Mom's at the Inochnerabunk Hotel with Uncle Nick, doing things I can't even explain. I'm sending you the video. There's something about reading those words from your kid that just rips right through you. I could hear the panic in his voice, even through text. My fingers were numb when I opened the file. It took all of 4 seconds of that shaky phone footage before I felt my knees give. There she was, Kelsey, my wife of 12 goddamn years, wrapped up in my brother Nick like they were the stars of some trashy late-night show. The room was dim, red lights, cheap curtains, the kind of place that charged by the hour. I couldn't even process what they were doing, not really. I just knew they weren't supposed to be doing it. Not him, not her, and definitely not while our son was outside the damn room, watching. I remember sitting there in the garage, my mind white noise, staring at the concrete. The beer tipped over and pooled at my feet, and I didn't even move. My wife, my brother, at that sleazy, bug-ridden dump of a hotel, doing that. And our son had seen it all. I called Tyler immediately. He picked up on the first ring. Dad, I didn't mean to see it. I followed her because she lied again. She said she was going to the store, but she left dressed like, I don't know. I just had a bad feeling. I told him, voice flat, come home. Right now? Pack your stuff. We're done here. It didn't feel like real life. Not yet. It felt like a sick joke, like some twisted prank show was about to pop out from behind the bushes. I stared at the photo of our wedding day on the living room wall. Kelsey in her white dress, beaming like she wasn't the queen of lies. I'd spent over a decade building a life with that woman, raising a kid, making sacrifices, holding down 2 jobs sometimes just so she could chase whatever dream she was pretending to care about that year. 2 hours later, Tyler was home. I hugged him, and he just broke down in my arms. That kid, 14 years old, and already had to see more betrayal than most adults. I knew then, this wasn't just about me. Kelsey had scorched the whole damn earth. By morning, the house was silent. Kelsey came home to nothing. No son, no husband, no joint savings. Just a cold countertop with a manila envelope sitting pretty. Divorce papers signed and dated, along with a short note I scrawled in Sharpie. Don't bother calling. You made your choice. We're gone. And we were. I'd been planning to disappear the moment I saw that video. Packed bags. Rented a storage unit. Booked a place under a friend's name. I moved like I'd been preparing for this war my whole life. And that's the kicker, right? Some part of me had been waiting for this. Kelsey had been distant for months. Shady. Late-night texts, she said, were from the girls. Sudden work trips that never had receipts. She'd come home smelling like a man's cologne I didn't wear, brushing it off with a laugh and some BS story about spilled perfume at Macy's. But this was final. My wife, my own damn brother, and a seedy hotel off Route 6. That's what finally brought the curtain down. You know what's wild? In that moment, I didn't scream, didn't throw things. I just shut off. Cold. Numb. Like a switch flipped, and the man who had loved her, trusted her, protected her, he was just gone. Next part? That's when she came back. 2 months later. After silence. After I erased every trace of us. She showed up at my door, demanding to see our son. No remorse. No shame. Like she had any right. She had no idea what was waiting for her on the other side of that door. 2 months. 60 quiet days. That's how long it took before she finally showed her face again. It was a Wednesday morning. Rain tapped against the windows like it was rehearsing a warning. Tyler was upstairs, headphones in, gaming or pretending to do homework. Either way, quiet. I was halfway through my coffee when the knock came. Not gentle, not uncertain, sharp, demanding. I knew that knock. It was hers. Kelsey. I didn't move at first. Just sat there, cup in hand, staring at the door like it might explode. I almost didn't open it. But I wanted to see her face. I needed to see it. The face of the woman who burned down everything we'd built. The woman who turned our home into ash and thought she could waltz back like nothing happened. I opened the door. And there she stood. Same cheap perfume. Same smug look like the world owed her something. She didn't look broken or apologetic. She didn't even look embarrassed. Just annoyed. Like I was the one being difficult. "Where's Tyler?" she snapped, like she had a right to anything. I didn't answer. Just crossed my arms and leaned against the doorframe. "What do you want, Kelsey?" Her eyes darted past me, like she expected our son to come running into her arms. "I want to see my son. I've been calling. Texting. You've blocked me on everything." "Good. It's called boundaries." "Don't be an ass, Jake," she hissed. "He's my son too." That's when I laughed. Short. Bitter. "You lost that privilege when you chose Uncle Nick over your own kid. You think he didn't see you? Think he doesn't remember?" Her face twitched, but she tried to play it cool. "That video? He misunderstood. It's not what it looked like." "Oh, so the motel room? The noises? You straddling Nick like he was your new husband? That was misunderstood." She flinched then. Just a flicker, but I saw it. Her mask cracked. "You don't get to spin this, Kelsey. You don't get to walk in here and pretend this is a normal custody thing. You blew it. You blew him. And now you think I'll hand you our son." She straightened up, arms folding under her chest like she was preparing for war. "I made a mistake, Jake. People make mistakes. You're punishing me like I'm a criminal." I stepped closer, voice low and steady. "You are a criminal in my book. You stole years of my life. Lied. Gaslit me. Dragged our kid into your mess. You betrayed everything. So yeah, you don't get Tyler. Not now. Maybe not ever." She scoffed. "You think the court's going to let you keep him from me forever?" I smiled, slow and cold. "Try it. Please. I've got evidence. I've got witnesses. And I've got a son who's old enough to tell a judge who he wants to live with. Good luck explaining that video." That's when her voice cracked. Not from sadness. From fury. "You're ruining everything." "No, Kelsey. You did." I didn't slam the door. I closed it slowly, watching her face all the way until it disappeared behind the frame. She stood there for a second longer, then pounded the wood once, hard, before stomping back to whatever car her new life gave her. I stood there in silence. And for the first time in weeks, I felt peace. Not because it was over, but because I was finally starting to see who she really was. You don't just wake up one morning and realize your wife is a professional liar. It sneaks up on you, slow, like rot in the walls. But once you see it, you can't unsee it. You start replaying every moment, every conversation, searching for the cracks you once ignored. For me, that night came 3 months before the video. The night she looked me straight in the eye and lied without blinking. It was a Friday. I remember that because I'd just gotten off a long week on the job site. My back hurt, my boots were still muddy, and all I wanted was a cold drink and a quiet evening with my family. I walked through the front door and found Kelsey standing by the mirror, putting on red lipstick. She never wore lipstick for me. Not anymore. I watched her for a moment. She didn't even flinch when I stepped in. "Going somewhere?" I asked, tossing my keys into the bowl by the door. She smiled. That fake, tight-lipped smile she always used when she was about to lie. "Girls' night. Sarah and Amanda want to grab a few drinks. I won't be late." "Girls' night, huh?" I asked, keeping my voice casual. "You never mentioned it." She shrugged, grabbing her purse. "It was last minute. You know how we are." She kissed me on the cheek. Her lips were cold. "Don't wait up." And then she was gone. But something about it didn't sit right. The dress she wore was tight, low-cut. The kind of dress you wear when you're trying to be seen. And the perfume, strong, unfamiliar, like she bathed in it. I waited an hour before I called Sarah. She and I weren't close, but we'd been around each other enough to share polite lies. "Hey, Sarah," I said. "Kelsey said she was going out with you tonight. Just wanted to check if Tyler left something in her car." Silence. Then a pause. "Oh, she said she was with me." "Yeah. We haven't talked all week, Jake." My stomach dropped. I thanked her and hung up. I didn't call Kelsey. I didn't send angry texts. I just sat in the kitchen, staring at the clock, counting the minutes. She came home around midnight, heels clicking on the tile like she owned the place. "Hey, baby," she called. Too loud, too cheerful. "Have fun?" I asked from the shadows of the living room. She jumped, clearly not expecting me to still be up. "Geez, you scared me." "Yeah, it was great. Sarah got a little too drunk, as usual." I stood slowly. "Funny. She told me she hasn't seen you all week." And there it was. That half-second of panic in her eyes. That flicker of truth trying to push through the lie. But then she was back, full performance mode. She must have been confused, she said. Or maybe she didn't want to admit we went to that sketchy bar she hates. You know how Sarah is. I didn't say anything. I just looked at her. Really looked. And for the first time, I saw a stranger in my house. Someone wearing my wife's face. She walked past me, grabbed a bottle of wine, and poured herself a glass like nothing happened. I watched her that night as she laughed at her phone screen, probably texting Nick or whoever the hell she was actually with. I watched her sip wine like she hadn't just spit in the face of our marriage. I didn't sleep, just sat on the porch in the dark, listening to the silence that used to be a home. That was the night I started looking deeper. It was the first lie I didn't ignore, but it wasn't the last. It's crazy how one stupid little notification can flip your entire world upside down. After that night she lied about being with Sarah, something inside me snapped. I stopped being the blind husband. I stopped trusting smiles, stopped trusting excuses. I started watching. Quietly, patiently. I knew something else would slip, and when it did, I'd be ready. And then it happened. On a Tuesday afternoon, she was in the shower. Her phone, usually glued to her hand, was sitting on the kitchen counter. Unlocked. Unlocked. I swear I stared at it for a full minute, heart pounding like I was defusing a bomb. Every instinct screamed that I shouldn't look. That once I opened that door, there was no coming back. But it was already too late. My gut had already made the decision. I tapped the screen. First, the texts. Nothing on the main screen. But when I opened her chat with Nicholas, my own brother, my blood went cold. The messages weren't just flirty. They were filthy, explicit, and worse, they were emotional. Things like, I can't stop thinking about the way you held me yesterday. Being with you feels like breathing for the first time. Jake doesn't even notice when I leave anymore. And one that shattered me completely. I wish you were the father of my son. My hands were shaking. I kept scrolling, heart in my throat. Photos. Selfies she sent him, dressed up, half-dressed, lying in our bed. Our damn bed. And a video. A short, jerky clip that made my stomach turn. It was her. And him. In his truck. Kissing like teenagers who didn't care who saw. The timestamp said it all. These weren't ancient messages. They were fresh. Ongoing. While I was working. While I was cooking dinner. While I was putting Tyler to bed. I wanted to scream. Throw the phone. Break every damn dish in the kitchen. But I didn't. I backed up everything, screenshots, files, copies. Sent them to a private email I created just for this. Evidence. Cold, undeniable proof. Then I put the phone right back where it was and sat at the table, staring blankly at the wood grain. She came out 10 minutes later, hair damp, robe loose around her neck like she was ready to charm her way out of anything. Hey babe, she said, walking past me, pretending she didn't just take a steamy shower while her lover's filth still lingered in her messages. I looked at her, nodding slightly. How was your shower? Hot, she smiled oblivious. Yeah, I bet it was. The next few days were a blur. I didn't confront her. Not yet. I played dumb. Let her believe she was still in control. Every lie she told, I stored. Every late night, every fake meeting, every forced smile. I logged them like a detective waiting for the perfect moment to close the case. Because now I had something she didn't expect. Proof. And I wasn't going to waste it on some heated argument in the kitchen. No. I was going to burn her life down exactly the way she tried to burn mine. She had no idea what was coming. And when it hit, it would hit hard. I didn't plan a dramatic showdown. There wasn't a secret camera, no dinner plate smashing or shouting across the living room. That's not how I work. When you've been betrayed by the woman you gave your life to, and your own flesh and blood brother, you don't want drama. You want answers. You want the truth to come out so cleanly, so undeniably, that even a liar like her can't twist her way out. It happened on a Sunday. Tyler had gone to stay the weekend with my parents. I told them I needed time to sort out a few things with Kelsey. They didn't ask questions. I think they knew something was off. Hell, maybe they knew before I did. Kelsey was in the kitchen, humming, making her little fake happy sounds while scrambling eggs like she wasn't a walking disaster in heels. I waited until she turned her back. I want to talk, I said, leaning against the doorway. She smiled over her shoulder. Oh, serious tone. What is it, babe? About you. And Nick. The spatula froze in midair. She turned slowly, blinking like she didn't understand the words I'd just said. What? I know. Everything. The motel. The texts. The pictures. The videos. Everything. Her jaw didn't drop. She didn't faint. No gasp. Just silence. And then, slowly, she walked over to the sink, turned off the burner, and leaned against the counter like this was just another casual morning. Okay, she said. So what now? That's what she said. So what now? I stared at her, trying to find even a shred of the woman I married. Nothing. Just this cold, hollow shell. She wasn't sorry. She wasn't scared. She was annoyed I caught her. Is that it? I asked. You're not going to deny it? Lie? Make something up like you always do. She laughed, a short, bitter laugh that cut deep. What do you want from me, Jake? A dramatic confession? Tears. You want me to fall on my knees and beg for forgiveness. That'd be a start. Well, too bad, she said, crossing her arms. You stopped seeing me a long time ago. Nick saw me. Still does. You mean he saw through your clothes? I snapped. Don't act like a saint, she hissed. You were always working. Always tired. Always boring. You became predictable, Jake. Life with you was like living in a gray room. Nick gave me color. I took a step closer, voice cold. Nick is my brother. My blood. And you, my wife. You broke 2 families with this garbage. She rolled her eyes. Oh, please. Don't act like this wasn't already broken. I reached into my pocket and pulled out the folder. Thick. Heavy with receipts, screenshots, printed messages. I dropped it on the table between us. This is going to the lawyer tomorrow, I said. Full custody. No joint anything. I've already moved most of our savings into a secure account. You'll get your half after Tyler's future is safe. She looked down at the folder, lips tight. You think you can just erase me from your lives? I already did, I said. She didn't cry, didn't scream, just turned and walked upstairs, like I was an annoying call she was done answering. That night, she didn't come to bed. I didn't sleep. I lay there, staring at the ceiling, realizing I'd been married to a stranger. A manipulative, cold, selfish stranger. But something else happened that night. I stopped loving her. And that, more than anything, was freedom. The fallout came fast and loud. By Monday, Kelsey had packed a bag. She stormed out without a word, slamming the front door so hard the hallway picture frames rattled. I didn't stop her. I didn't even look up from my coffee. Watching her leave felt like breathing after holding it for 12 years. The silence she left behind wasn't empty. It was peaceful. But peace doesn't last long when you're dealing with a woman like her. By Tuesday, I had 2 missed calls from Nick. The coward had the nerve to try and explain himself. His voicemail was pathetic, full of stuttering, half-truths, and the usual, I never meant for this to happen garbage. I didn't call him back. I didn't need to. He knew what he did. He made his choice. And so did I. I went straight to my lawyer with the folder of evidence. She looked at the documents, then back at me, her face unreadable. This is more than enough for full custody, she said. Especially if your son is willing to speak for himself. He is, I replied. He saw more than any kid should. She nodded. Then we'll bury her. And we did. The court date was set for 3 weeks out. Until then, I kept Tyler close. I sat him down and told him everything. No sugarcoating. No pretending. He was old enough. He deserved the truth. He didn't cry. Not this time. I hate her, he said, eyes hard. She doesn't even feel like my mom anymore. I didn't correct him. I didn't tell him not to say that. Because I felt the same damn way. But Kelsey wasn't done. She showed up a week later, right after sunset, banging on the front door like the place still belonged to her. I opened it. Not because I wanted to, but because I needed to see how far she'd fall. She looked like hell. Mascara smudged, lips cracked, hair thrown up like she hadn't even looked in a mirror. She pushed past me before I could stop her. Where is he? She demanded. Where's my son? He doesn't want to see you, I said coldly. He's my kid too. Not after what you did. She started pacing the living room, wild and frantic. You think you can take him from me? You can't just erase me, Jake. You're not God. No, I said calmly. But the court damn near is. That shut her up. She stood in the center of the room, breathing hard, hands clenched. You're doing this to punish me. No, I'm doing this to protect him from you. She laughed. It was high, bitter, almost unhinged. You think he'll love you more for this? You think he'll grow up and thank you for keeping him away from his mother? I stepped closer, locked eyes with her. No, I think he'll grow up and thank me for showing him what self-respect looks like. For showing him that betrayal has consequences. That when someone treats you like trash, you walk away and never look back. She didn't respond. Just stood there, shaking. Then she spat the words like poison. I hope you rot alone, Jake. And with that, she stormed out of the house. I locked the door behind her. That night, Tyler came downstairs and sat beside me in silence. I didn't ask if he heard. I knew he did. He leaned his head on my shoulder and said quietly, "Thanks for not letting her lie her way out of this." I put my arm around him. "Always," I said, because no matter what came next, she wasn't part of us anymore. Nick didn't show up right away. He stayed hidden like the rat he was, probably hoping it would all blow over. But betrayal like his doesn't just fade into the background. It festers. It grows teeth. And sooner or later, it demands blood. It was 2 days after Kelsey's breakdown at my front door when I saw him. I had just picked up Tyler from school, and we were grabbing groceries when I spotted that familiar black Ford parked on the far side of the lot. Nick was leaning against it, looking around nervously like he was about to rob the place. "Stay in the truck," I told Tyler. He didn't argue. He just nodded, lips tight. I walked toward Nick slowly, every step fueled by memories. Backyard football as kids, beers after work, birthdays, weddings. All of it poisoned now. He saw me and stood up straight. "Jake." "Hey, man." I was hoping to. I punched him. Not a warning jab. A full, knuckle-busting right hook that cracked across his jaw and sent him stumbling back into his truck. His sunglasses flew off, and he clutched his face, groaning. "You deserve that," I said calmly. I know," he muttered, blood at the corner of his lip. "You don't know us asterisk asterisk asterisk." "I didn't mean to hurt you," he said, wiping his mouth. "It just happened. Don't insult me with that weak-ass excuse. You chose her. Again and again. Behind my back. In my house. While my son was upstairs." He dropped his gaze. "Coward. You think this is about one mistake?" I growled. "You broke our family. You spit on every Christmas, every birthday, every memory we ever had. For what? A few nights at some motel with my wife." "It wasn't just that." "Shut up." Silence. He looked like a child who got caught stealing. And honestly, I think part of him thought he could fix it with words. "You came to say something?" I asked. "Say it. Get it out. But don't expect forgiveness." He nodded, swallowing hard. "I'm sorry, Jake. Truly. I was in a bad place. I wasn't thinking. She came to me first. She said you didn't care anymore, that she felt invisible. I never meant to let it go that far." "She came to you?" I laughed bitterly. "And you went for it. Just like that. I didn't want to hurt you. But you did. And that's the truth. People always claim they didn't mean to hurt you, as if that makes it okay. But Nick made the same choice every time he undressed her. Every time he answered her texts. Every time he picked her over me. I don't want anything from you," I said. "No apologies. No excuses. You're dead to me. Tyler never wants to see your face again, and neither do I." He opened his mouth again, but I shook my head. "Don't. You'll only make it worse." And then I walked away. He didn't follow. When I got back in the truck, Tyler didn't say anything. He just looked at me. "Did you hit him?" he asked. "Yeah," I said. "Once. Should have hit him twice." I laughed, for the first time in what felt like weeks. It didn't fix everything, but it was a start. Later that night, I blocked Nick's number. Burned every photo of us together. Cleared the attic of every memory tied to his name. I wasn't angry anymore. I was done. It was exactly 2 months to the day since I'd caught her. Since I'd packed up our life, vanished with Tyler, and left her with nothing but ashes and signed divorce papers on the counter. I should have known she wasn't done. They never are. It was late in the evening. Tyler was upstairs on a video call with his cousin, laughing for the first time in weeks. I was pouring a whiskey, trying to forget the sound of her voice when I heard it, the knock. 3 sharp hits. I froze. Not out of fear. Not out of shock. Just tired of it all. I opened the door slowly. And there she was. Kelsey. Standing in the hallway like she still had a place in our lives. No suitcase this time. No screaming or crying. Just her, in a black coat, with desperation clinging to her like perfume. "I need to see Tyler," she said, like she hadn't destroyed his world. I leaned on the doorframe. Calm. Cold. "You think you can just show up again? After what you did?" Her lips trembled. Not because she was sad. Because this time, the script wasn't working. The charm, the manipulation, it was all falling flat. "I'm his mother," she whispered. "I have rights. Rights you flushed down the toilet the moment you dragged your own son into a motel parking lot to watch you destroy our family." She blinked. "He wasn't supposed to be there. Neither were you." Silence. Then she broke. I made a mistake, Jake. I messed up. Nick, he's gone. He used me. I was lonely. I was stupid. I didn't think. Don't care. I cut her off. She blinked again, stunned. I don't care if Nick's gone. I don't care if you were lonely. You lied to my face. You betrayed our vows. And you turned our son into a witness. That's not a mistake. That's character. I want to talk to him, she said, reaching for the door like she could just walk in. I blocked it. He doesn't want to see you. She froze. He hates me. Her voice cracked, finally sounding human. No, I said. He's just done. Like I am. Tears welled up in her eyes. Big, dramatic ones. But I didn't move. Not this time. I'd seen those same tears after every lie, every mess she made, every time she needed a scapegoat. They were her weapon, and they no longer worked. You can't keep him from me, she said, voice rising. You can't erase me, Jake. I don't need to erase you, I said, quiet and steady. You erased yourself. The moment you chose yourself over your family. Over him. She looked past me, toward the staircase. Like maybe he'd come running. Like maybe he still needed her. He didn't. Please, she said again, soft and broken. Just one conversation. I shook my head. The only thing left to say is in that custody ruling. You'll get supervised visits. That's it. No more overnights. No more family trips. You made sure of that. I began closing the door. Her last words hit like a rock. You're going to regret this. One day, he'll blame you for pushing me away. I met her eyes one last time. No. He'll thank me for showing him how a man's supposed to protect what matters. Then I shut the door. This time, it stayed shut. No more second chances. No more lies. No more Kelsey. That night, I sat on the porch with Tyler. We watched the stars in silence for a while. Then he said, "Are we finally free?" I looked at him, smiled, and said, "Yeah, we are." And for the first time since it all began, I actually believed it.